Hey everyone, this is Dylan, and today I'm going to be doing a movie review for you guys. So today I'm going to be doing a review of The Grudge 2020, and this might be the fastest movie review turnaround I've done. I don't think I've ever done a movie review over something that just came out in theaters. But I am back at home and I happen to have a friend come into town I haven't seen since high school, and he was like, hey, you want to hang out? And I was like, sure. And we went and got some lunch or some dinner, and then he was like, oh, what do you want to do? I was like, well, I mean, the only thing we can really do this late at night is go to the movies. So we looked it up, and it wasn't playing in our town, so we had to drive 30 minutes away to another theater to watch it. And that was before I had heard anything about The Grudge 2020. I was a fan of the 2004 Grudge American remake. I have not seen the original Japanese version of The Grudge. So I'll just put that out there. I definitely plan on watching it at some point, but just have not ever had the opportunity to. So I may not quite understand the mythology as much, but I am fairly familiar with the first two Grudge movies in the American remake of the American remakes. I'm not familiar with the third one at all, but let's kind of get into like the gist of this. And I wouldn't say that this review is going to have spoilers per se. I will talk about the details of some of the things that I didn't like, but inherently I don't think this movie is very spoilerish. There's like not really any like major spoilers, I would say, in this movie, or major twists or anything that could be spoiled for you. And if I do talk about spoilers, I'll do it at the end of the video, and I will give a preface in case you are worried about having the movie spoiled for you. So we find out in the first few minutes of the movie that this woman is coming home. Well, she comes out of the original house from the 2004 movie, and she is on the phone with Yoko, which, if you're familiar with the 2004 movie, is the caregiver in Japan that Sarah Michelle Gellar's character is taking over for. And so this woman is on the phone with Yoko saying that she can't do this caregiving job anymore, and that she needed Yoko to come in and cover for her. And so this woman flies back to the United States because she's American. And we kind of don't really know anything else about what happens with her. We see her get home. Then we get into this other story. And it is this police officer, this woman police officer, and her son, who have moved into town after the death of her husband from cancer. So she's new on their first case, essentially, with her and her new partner, detective partner, is the car that they find in the middle of the woods, and that is seen in the trailer. And so they find this car, and they realize that it's connected to another case that her partner had done previously. And so it kind of just goes into that. I think that's where I'll leave the summary, but let's get into my overall opinions. It wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen. I will give it that. I rated it a 3 stars on Letterboxd. I will put a link to my Letterboxd in the description if you're interested in following me on that. But I gave it 3 stars, and as my kind of personal rating system goes, 3 stars is like, it wasn't a good movie, it wasn't really a bad movie, but this is something that I think I would want to revisit in a few years and kind of see if my opinions have changed. That being said, let's talk about what I liked, which is very little. So I think the main thing that I liked was I liked the acting, I thought that most of the actors did very well. Lynn Shay was really good. Of course, she didn't have a very like big role, but I think she did good. Jackie Weaver did pretty good. John Cho did well. Alright, but let's get into the bulk of what this review is going to be, and that is what I did not like. So, the first thing and the first problem that, well, the major problem that this movie had was it was a very convoluted storyline, or timeline, I should say. So it does a whole bunch of jumping around from different times and different families. So in this movie, there are 4 stories that you're following, like these 4 families, and they all have their own stories, and it jumps back and forth in time of, it's just super confusing. You're not always sure when things are taking place. So that was one of my biggest issues. I also did not like the designs of the ghosts. I think they didn't make much sense to me because it's supposed to be like it's supposed to be connected. This movie is connected to The Grudge. It's from 2004. It's taking place in the same timeline. So it would make sense that the ghosts in this movie look like the ghosts in the 2004 Grudge. But they're more zombie looking than anything. I think that the stark white and of the ghosts in the 2004 Grudge, I think that is a much better look than what we had now. I think that this new one is just too zombie looking, and there was just a lot of like blood that would just spew out and like ooze. I just did not care for that, and I don't think that it worked well for this movie. I think there was a lot of confusion on my end, at least, for how it was connected to the 2004 American remake of The Grudge. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me. And I guess right now I will say, I'll go into spoilers because that's the only way that I can get my point across, I think. So, we're saying, essentially this movie was saying that the original character, I forget what her name is, but from the Landers family, who was working at that 2004 house, or the house from 2004's The Grudge, that since she was working in that house, that those spirits were the ones that were affecting her. So my confusion with it is her storyline and Sarah Michelle Gellar's storyline are supposed to be happening at the same time. So, and one's in Japan and one's in Pennsylvania. So it's like, are those ghosts, are those spirits, traveling across the ocean to affect them both at the same time? Like, I didn't understand that whole idea. And at least in the second movie of The Grudge, that's a sequel to the 2004 Grudge, those were the same spirits from the first Grudge. There wasn't different ones. And in this movie, it was like every character had a spirit. Well, the Landers family was the main spirits that were affecting the 4 storylines in the new 2020 movie. And that didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, considering the whole idea. Like, I could understand if there was like a potential, like if there was this own event that happened separately from the Landers family, and the Landers family, there was like a tragic murder-suicide, and that was why they were there. But the way that I understand it is, it really should have been Kayako and her son who were the ones that were affecting these families. Also, I don't know if you guys are familiar with If you've seen it and you've seen the ending, it is a shot on the house, the family house, or the police officer's house, and where the credits roll over top of this still, it's not a still image, but it's a stationary image of the house. And everyone had pretty much started getting up and leaving the theater, and I told my friend, I was like, hey, let's wait until the actual, like, black screen credits come up. And while that was happening, I had pulled out my phone to go to the Wikipedia page, because usually they will mention if there is a end credit scene, and you really never know nowadays if there's an end credit scene or not, because that's most movies, or a lot of movies, do that nowadays. And if Sony was trying to create a new franchise with this, then I think that there could have been. So I checked it and there wasn't one. But I did read that that house that they were in was the realtor's house. And I don't think that in this movie, they did a very clear job of establishing that as being connected. And then that's why this police officer was attacked by the Landers family. I don't know. It was just a super confusing movie. I would definitely, if you're going to watch it, don't watch it in theaters. It's not worth that money that you would pay for your ticket. I would recommend watching it when it hits streaming, or once it comes out on like DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, and renting it for like $1.50 at the Redbox or wherever you rent your movies. Yeah, but that is it for this review. Let me know if you've seen The Grudge 2020 and whether you liked it, you didn't like it, and give all the reasons why, if you agree with any of my criticism or anything like that. If there's any other movies that you'd like to see me review, please let me know in the comments down below. If you're not already subscribed and you'd like to be, please hit that subscribe button down below. And if you like this video, please give it a like. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day. Make sure to check out the rest of my videos. Thanks. Bye.